Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here, Trumpful Reads, and in this video, we're going to be doing a book review of Brother John, a Monk, a Pilgrim, and the Purpose of Life. And this is by August Turak. And I think his other book that I think I've seen this name from was The Business Secrets of, like, the Trappist Monks or something. Which I don't know if you've seen them, like, in the stores. Like, the Trappist monks have, like, little, like, jellies and jams, I think, that they sell. But they are, like, a legit Cistercian hardcore is probably not the right word to use, I guess. But they are like a legit like Cistercian monastery, I think on St. Benedict's Rule, like I think in South Carolina or North Carolina, somewhere around there. But anyways, I was sent this book by a marketing agency in exchange for an honest review, which I do every time anyways. But at first I was kind of, like, I'm not like quite sure. I'm not Catholic or anything like that, so I wasn't sure what I was gonna get out of it, I guess. But I was sold on the fact that it was told to me that it was a very heartwarming, just really good, almost like holiday story, which was about the time when I read the book. So I said, it's a short book, I will give it a shot. And as you can see, it's kind of like a weird shape. It's almost like a coffee table book, but we'll get to the oil paintings in just a moment. But essentially, what this book is August Turak entered a competition in 2004 and won the Templeton Prize for basically this essay, which is the main portion of this book. Now, I don't know if the Templeton Prize is a yearly thing, but basically they put out a prompt, and in 2004 it was I can't remember if it was in 3,000 or 3,500 or 4,000 words, something like that, or less. Answer the question, what is the purpose of life? And essentially, he won that in 2004 and won $100,000 for that essay, basically. And then several years later, after talking to people, he decided to put it in book format because he believed it impacted a lot of people's lives. So I thought that was kind of like an interesting little story, just to like start how this whole thing basically goes off. Now, basically, what we have is almost like an incident in his life, and he sort of elaborates on that a little bit. Essentially, he was like visiting these Trappist monks at their monastery on, I can't remember if it was Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, but basically things are happening or whatever, and then he's basically retiring for the night and going to his room or whatever, and Brother John, like one of the monks there at the monastery, basically walks him to his room in the rain and carrying an umbrella. And at first, basically, he doesn't think too much about it, but then after reflecting on several things that basically he basically took the time to notice, such as how basically that was literally Brother John's like one of his only days off in the whole year, and he wants to spend it basically walking people to their rooms in the rain with an umbrella and stuff. It made him like reflect like just a ton on that like moment in that instant, and basically that's where this essay comes from. Now, the gist of sort of I don't want to get into it too much because it's only, you could read this book in probably half an hour, I'd say. Like I said, it's only like several thousand words to begin with. But one of the driving points that I took away from it is how basically people need to strive to be more selfless, basically. We all have sort of an ideal that we want to basically adhere to or reach someday, or want to kind of strive for, if that makes sense. And selflessness is obviously a really good one to do, but it seems like a lot of people, me myself included, I think pretty much everyone, they're almost afraid to try and go for that ideal because you'll never really get to it, if that makes sense. And then it almost seems like, what's the point, essentially? So it's a lot easier to be sort of rationalize everything and just say, it's not really going to matter in the long run, or it's not going to actually make a difference. And then therefore we become more self-centered and just kind of worry about our own lives and our own selves, things like that, rather than trying to basically live your life just to help others or be selfless or what have you. So anyways, that's kind of the gist I took away from the main portion. But like I said, I don't want to get into too much because I could literally probably just like read the book in like 15 or 20 minutes or something if I wanted to. But anyways, I really enjoyed like kind of just like, it's almost like kind of like just sort of a meditative book, if that makes sense. You just sort of, you read it slow, and it's like a book you could read like a month or two later and like reflect on it and just like keep thinking about it, if that makes sense. So I thought it was a really interesting book, and like I said, it was a powerful essay. I could see how it would win the Templeton Prize, which apparently is a pretty prestigious prize with a 100K grand prize winner. Now, I will say, let's go on to the artwork as well. Glenn Harrington apparently is a famous oil painter, and he was commissioned to do like just tons of oil paintings throughout the book. Of course, I'll flip to like some of the small ones. Then there's a bunch of like large full-page ones as well. I just thought they were really well done as well, and especially if you read this during the holiday time, it is kind of like just like a slow, reflective. I don't know, it just kind of helps aid with like the meditative process, if that makes sense. And I will say, like I said, I'm not Catholic, but I still like took the things away from this book. So even if you're not like religious per se or Catholic or anything like that, I still think you could actually benefit from this book as well. And it is not like overly I don't know if you can hear that, but Sawyer's just like choking himself or something in the other room. Of course, if you can't hear that, I probably just look like really ridiculous. But anyways, the book isn't overly like I don't know. It's not like beating you over the head with like preachiness. Because that's kind of what, I don't know if that's even a word or term. But basically, that was kind of my only like worry going into the book, was this going to be kind of like almost like a sermon type thing, which it totally is not. It reads just kind of like, it's almost just like a chapter out of a memoir or something. So I thought that was really well done. And overall, like I said, I am glad I picked up this book, or received this book and read it. It's not something I would have personally like picked. Like I would never even like consider getting a book like this. Though, like I said, this is like a book I'll probably like pick up in like a couple months, probably 2 or 3 months, and just read it again, because like I said, it only takes like half an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. I just kind of reflect on it again and see basically how I'm doing with my own ideal of how I want to basically live my life and be selfless and things like that. Like I said, just a really interesting, like, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna like explode your brain basically with how profound it is per se. But there is a lot of just like deep thoughts, and just makes you slow down and think about it, which I think is something that people need to do much more often in this fast-paced world. So yeah, tell me what you guys think about like a book like this. If you want to like check it out, things like that. It is just like I said, it's very different, but it was also like really refreshing at the same time. But whatever you guys end up reading, always remember, read victoriously.